Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie Robledo. I'm going to give you a short, informative speech/presentation on how marching band at different levels is presented differently through your academic career, starting from middle school bands, like little concert bands, all the way up to your freshman year, your first real year of marching, and then all the way to college university band, where it definitely has a different approach from the last 3 years that I've been here. Just a little preface. I will be covering about the ins and outs of our rehearsal days. So that includes game day rehearsals, just plain old regular outdoor rehearsals, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, how we memorize music and why we do it and why it's a crucial part of our existence as a band. The physical and mental toughness that everyone goes through while you're in band. It is something that definitely doesn't get talked about a lot, and it really has a big importance to who we are as a community and as a band family. I was also give a quick musical career background on my musical history, so I can say I've done it for almost 6 years now. Something that I've definitely had a hobby for, and here we go. So I'm going to start off with my sixth, seventh, and eighth grade years. I began my musical journey way before I even stepped foot on campus here at Tarleton State. And I began loving my stuff in elementary school when I learned how to play the recorder. And it was definitely something that I was drawn to because of my sister. My sister is the picture right behind me, right here. This picture right here. That's me. And when I was like 10, 11, 12. It's my mom, and then my dad, and then my older sister. Um, my older sister in that picture was a senior in high school. She was going through all the marching competitions and going through all sorts of different things, and I just loved watching her. She was my idol. She was my inspiration to wanting to go into high school, learning how to march and how to play the clarinet. And that's what I did. I learned how to play all of that. And this picture was my sixth grade year, so I was just learning on that exact clarinet with my sister. When my sister wasn't playing it, I was practicing it. Um, the picture over here on my far right in with a green border is my seventh grade year. It's my very first concert. I absolutely was really anxious to be there because there was over 100 people there. And it was my first concert. My sister went, my parents went, my grandparents went. It was really something that meant a lot to me at the time. In the middle picture is my eighth grade year. I was in a very small school who my graduating class was only 16, 18 of us. And that school had a requirement that eighth graders and freshmen in high school did marching band. So I technically learned how to march my eighth grade year, and then I moved on to a different high school, which is the next slide. And this far picture right behind me is my freshman year of 2018. That was my very first game, and I was really excited and I was really anxious, but I was really confident at the end. And fast forward a couple years later to my senior night. I was the class of 2022. That was taken somewhere in October, November of 2021, but I just labeled it my senior night 2022. But yes, that was me, my very last year of high school. And then the far, far other picture, the end picture, is my first year at Tarleton State University with the Son of the Fury. And I will tell you that experience was very nerve-wracking. As an incoming freshman, I will continue to talk about how everything is so different when you get into college and university band. But that is a little bit about me. That is my outline of my musical career. And I'm really excited to get going. So let's continue. Um, one of my first main points is outdoor rehearsals. Um, these are pictures of the Sound of the Fury these past couple years. This is Emily, our featured twirler, and some of our saxophones in the other picture. They are in outdoor rehearsals, and depending on the heat and outside, rising off the turf and bouncing off, hitting back at us, it can spike up to around 160 degrees and even worse. I've experienced firsthand 200 degrees or more on the turf during game days, and it is absolutely brutal. Um, but it is something that we all go through every single day. Um, my again, my first main point being is outdoor rehearsal, which is my point A. It's something that has been forever a controversial statement about between both groups of no band will ever be a sport and band is a sport. That's something that I think every band kid could know and understand to what that actually means. From personally being in marching band, both in high school and in university, the wear and tear on the body is astronomically just concerning sometimes, but it's also not very like it's not what is the word I'm looking for? It's not common as well. And it's taken to the point where my body's wear and tear. I've broken bones on fields, I've sprained ankles at competitions, I've I've literally fallen over while running on the turf from my set. And a set is it's a formation in our show that we have to get from basically point A to point B. And sometimes those sets can be across the field. Hence why I said I fell one day going across the field. It was definitely something that I never want to experience again because it really hurt. But I once read a study that by the University of Rhode Island that an average band member takes an average amount of 5,000 to 14,000 steps within one game, and that a drumline member, which is one of the snare drum behind me, works just as hard as any professional football player, as in like the NFL. You can have people such as um, quarterbacks and linebackers and all of them. It's definitely the study used professional medical equipment to monitor band members during all football games, including rehearsals and football games and away games. And it was just something that they did a really cool study on. And it showed the other side to how much wear and tear it is on our bodies. Excuse me. I will definitely link them down below just so y'all can read and look at it. My second main point is the physical and mental clash between high school and university bands. For me in high school as a freshman, it was very nerve-wracking, like I said earlier, being thrown into the pit of just here you go, here's everything. And if you ever have a chance to watch a marching band rehearsal or even a show, I will always highly recommend it because you can tell how vigorous and meticulous we are with every single movement we have and movement that it's either all or nothing sometimes. And another thing that just mentally challenges us is the music memorization for competitions. In high school, we have competitions as in like UIL competitions, which is the Elastic Something League. And this first picture, this big picture behind me, this big picture is my freshman year, my first competition of the year ever, and we got all ones, which means we got the highest level, like highest score. And we got this little placard like right there in the middle, and it was a huge achievement for us, but it took months and months in advance to make sure we had that. And in this bottom picture, we have just a bunch of trophies that we've gained over the years before I was even here. And now, after I graduated, they have about 10 times more. Um, you perform for competitions, you have four categories, which is our invitationals. Invitationals are something that don't go against your yearly score. And you'll understand why the yearly score is important. Then next is your area. Area is basically small schools, small or big schools around you in your conference. So like 5A, 3A, 4A, all those sorts of things. And then region. Region is one of the broadest like sections that a marching band could have. Like my school was a part of Region 26, which is the Austin area region. And we went against big schools like 6A and higher schools. And it was really cool to see a band of like 200 kids and more just march their hearts out. And then there's state. So in order to get to state, you have to pass area, right? Then once you pass area, you wait for region. And at region, region is the best of the best. And it's like the top two that get to go to state. So it's two from every region in the state of Texas that gets to go to the state competition at the end of the year. And we went one year as a high school, and it was quite literally the best experience you could have ever had as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. And the state years are every other year. So it's like 2022 was a state year, 2024 was a state year. It's the even years basically. And it was immensely great. And along with the grading policies like for the class, because you have to have marching band as a class in high school and in university. So my high school, the only grades we had were basically just you had to be there for Friday night games. So Friday night football games, you had to be there. It was mandatory. And if you couldn't go to competitions on the weekends, like area, region, state, invitationals, then you would either have to have an excuse note or you would literally have to have like some sort of excuse to say, I cannot go. But we weren't counted against it, but we just had to we had to give our directors validation. But in university band, you have to go to every single rehearsal. You have to go to every single football game. You have to go to every single performance because the marching bands in high school, they perform at every single event, if not every other event. Like we just performed at the President's Assembly, and that was a major grade for us. So if we didn't attend the President's Assembly, we would have been docked 2 letter grade, which if you have an A, it'll be to a C. And if you miss a game day performance, so like our Saturday nights, so if I were to miss homecoming and I had a C, if I had an A, I would have missed 3 letter grades. I would have been docked down 3 letter grades. So that would have been a D. And um like those are really hard to make up unless you're excused, which they only credit doctor's notes or academic advising or anything university related. Like those are the only exceptions that are excused. Um and it's really hard for a college student to go through these mental challenges because again, we're college kids. We have other courses we have to take that are 10 times harder than marching band and 10 times harder than any high school class. So we have this mental blockage of I have to get work done, but I also have this essay due at the end of the week, or I have this speech due tomorrow, but I have practice all day tomorrow. And it's very hard to make that balance your first year. And that's a reason why everybody their first year, it's a make it or break it year. You either go through band camp and you go through the first game and you stick with it and you like chug along with everybody else. Or at band camp, you crap because it's just a mini version of how the semester is gonna go. So it's very hard to be like, I want to do this, but I know I can't do this because my mental health is not there and it's not ready to go through all that stress. Um, in university band, we also don't have competitions. I stated earlier that we had competitions in high school that were really important and that were like a make it or break it during the year. But in university, we don't have those. Sometimes as a university band, we could perform at those as like a special guest or like an exposition. And it's really cool to go through and see all these high school kids just be like, wow, that is so cool. I want to do that. Kind of like an inspirational thing. The only sort of competition we have in university is called DCI, which is Drum Corps International. These guys, the one in the pink and the one in the white, those guys are my friends. They did DCI this past year. It's an international marching band competition. Groups around the entire United States have a drum corps and they go compete every year for it. They learn a show. They show at different places. They have rehearsal all summer long. And so these guys spent since May all the way to August, they competed and they practiced and they rehearsed every single day a show that they won first place at DCI. That's a national championship. And is something that they're really proud of, and that as a college kid that they had that excitement again like they once were in high school. So that's really cool if people do decide to go through with competing, they would go the DCI route. But the only requirement for DCI is you have to be a brass, so that's trumpets, flugels, trombones, tubas, drum line. You have your snares, basses, tenors, all those, and color guard. Those are the only three major groups that are allowed into drum corps, which kind of sucks, but also it's like you can learn a new instrument just to do it. And it's not that hard to learn a new instrument. I know. Anyway, my next point is clothing. Clothing is one of the biggest controversial arguments, disagreements, whatever you want to call it in the band community. This ranges from all scales of just from beginner band all the way up to DCI. As you can see in this picture, there are people in tank tops, in shorts with no shirts. They're wearing tennis shoes. Then there's they're all wearing ball caps. They are just a wide range of clothing. And I've seen people in their Sunday best with their boots and jeans on. I've seen them in Crocs, which is the weirdest piece of clothing you could wear to a band rehearsal. But no complaints here. Um, Yet, from what I've heard in the past 6 years that I've done it, showing up in tennis shoes, tank tops, just kind of summer outing wear is the best way to ensure that you are safe and that you are able to protect yourself and the people around you with just overall safety. Because I mean, if you're going to band rehearsal in flip-flops and you're barefooted, then like someone can step on your toes and or you can smash your toes on a bass drum or something, and it really turns into a safety hazard, and it's just an overall health thing. Because I knew I wouldn't go out there on that turf on like 160-degree weather of the turf and put my raw feet on there. Like that's crazy to put on there. But a lot of these controversies between like your clothing and your mental health and your physical health and all these different little perks about marching band, the disagreements about them, the just overall spectrum of how marching band is very broad span because not everybody knows what it's like to be firsthand in a marching band. And I hope with my presentation, I was able to give you some sort of inside look and some sort of um, just firsthand look and raw pictures of what it's like in a marching band, whether that's university, high school, DCI, it doesn't matter because all all these topics about band I'm very passionate about. And from any side of the coin regarding band, every opinion differs, and that is based all on experience of what if you've seen them, if you haven't, if you've been in band, if you played an instrument and you didn't play it anymore, and you did sports instead. Um, I just hope everyone from my presentation got a silver lining of how high school and university bands are different, and know that we want to ensure you a great halftime performance every Saturday night or every Friday night or every concert. Um, so yes, this is just my little spiel about marching band. Thank y'all. Thanks for watching.